Hey there, everyone. You are listening to ToRAISE Questions Doula podcast. This is Melanie Headley. I am sitting across the table from the lovely ToRAISE Hakoon. ToRAISE is the executive director of ToLabor, which is an international organization which trains and certifies doulas. Hi, ToRAISE.
Hey, Melanie. Here we are again. We're really pushing forward like we are supposed to be.
We're working.
Yeah. But we're doing it, and we're muddling along in our lives as we do it.
We are, and we really appreciate we've gotten some pickup with donations this past week, and we have gotten some really good emails from you guys. Really appreciate it. And we want to give a shout out to Leah Arnold from Kansas for your really, really generous donation. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So remember, if you feel like you would like to donate to the podcast, it just helps us with continuing to do this as far as production costs and such go. Please go to our website. There's a donate button that will take you through some very easy steps to be able to donate. So anything small, very large, you would like to contribute, we really appreciate it. Otherwise, send us your comments because we also greatly appreciate those as well.
Yes, please. And if you do decide to grace us with your donation, please let us know what your company is, your website, what you do. We'd love to give you a shout out.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So today, I kind of want to turn the tables on you, Melanie.
I don't really like this idea.
I know. I remember that feeling as well. But we'll talk as much as little as you want. But I think that, people have been listening to you for a while now, and they obviously know that you're a doula and that you're a mom and that you're a childbirth educator and you have the lactation, what do you call yourself? Educator?
Counselor.
I just think it would be really interesting to get some more input about you as a doula, and some of your experiences and how you've grown through the time period of being a doula. It's kind of like a case study of a doula instead of birth itself. And
okay.
You're the doula.
I'm a little nervous about these questions.
Yes.
Are we going to take a break?
Okay, we'll take a break.
Let me prepare a little bit.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gesticulating wildly across the table from her. We'll be right back.
Okay. Let's begin.
Okay.
So I think we know a little bit about you as far as you're a mother and that you have 4 kids, right?
Yes.
And their ages are what?
6, 8, 11, and 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Close together and then a little space.
Yeah, I had them in batches.
Yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 2. And your first...
And you were there for 3 of them.
Yeah, that's just... And I see their birthdays and I just go, God, I can't believe time.
I know.
Your first birth was where? And then,
it was in Northern Virginia. I switched to a freestanding birthing center at 30 weeks pregnant from a very large MD practice. And then within my labor, I transferred to the hospital after a very long time. Basically, I just had an anterior lip left that was starting to swell. And baby's heart rate was not, lots of D cells. And so finally had him with forceps, an epidural and forceps delivery, about an hour and a half after I got into the hospital.
Really?
And he had a true knot tied in his cord, which was
the D cells,
which attributed to that. And then I went on to have my next 3 babies at home here in Richmond with you and Nancy.
Nice. What made you, just briefly, What made you switch from the OB practice to the freestanding birth center? Because a lot of first-time moms don't think to do things like that.
I was actually taking a childbirth class called A Brighter Birth, the one that I teach now. And at that time, it was very different. It was a 8-week-long series, and it was a Bradley Method class. And just all of these little red flags kept popping up with the kind of care that we were receiving. We would see a different doc each time. We would see, that doctor for 5 minutes. We were driving an hour and a half up to our appointments each time. And we lived in Richmond.
Oh, you lived in Richmond and were doing that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I was still under my parents' health insurance.
Oh.
So I was with this very large practice and going up 95.
That never, sorry everyone, it never made sense to me. Because I thought you lived here, but then I thought, well, I must have misunderstood in that you lived up there.
Yeah, no. And that really, the drive.
Oh, man.
The appointment that I had with one of the doctors before I switched, he made the comment, I really had all of these questions lined up for him. And my husband, we had this plan where he was going to kind of like come into the office, and as soon as the doctor came in, then Peter was going to put his back against the door so the doctor couldn't leave before all of our questions were answered. So because it was, these appointments were like boom, 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 done. So the questions were, do you have a midwife in the practice? No. Well, we are thinking of hiring a doula. How do you feel about that? No, we don't have doulas here. We don't do doulas. I would have delivered at Fairfax Hospital, which still has a very, very high C-section rate in the state of Virginia. Asked him how he would really help me cope through having a natural birth, because that's really what my goal was. And he said, well, if you even make it to your due date, which was the first sign, like never tell a pregnant woman she's going to go early.
Yeah. Or maybe
right.
He was thinking he wasn't going to let you get to your due
right,
date. Right.
And then the next thing he said was, we don't want you to have the baby in the car on the way up here. So now I'm thinking, it's going to go super fast. So I'm going to have my baby early, super fast. And of course that didn't happen. And so then when we switched.
So you were being educated.
Mm-hmm.
And you were using that education to really listen to what your care providers were saying to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you thought, let's switch.
We made the switch. Well, one of the nurses actually in that practice followed us out to the elevator. I was in tears from that appointment, and she handed me a flyer for this birthing center and said, if you want to have a natural, she was the nurse that had done my intake that day when I came in for the appointment, and I was all, excited about my birth and telling her we were doing this and that. And so she followed me out and said, if you want to have a natural birth, get out of here.
What an excellent,
I know.
What a difference your life was.
Absolutely. Because I had no idea that my
you should
insurance
find
even
her
covered
and
it.
say, thank you. Look what pathway she set you on.
She did. Yeah.
So you switched to the freestanding birth center. You ended up in the hospital. Then you chose home birth.
Yes.
Because?
Well, I did not choose home birth, actually. My husband chose home birth, and Nancy chose home birth for me. And I was really skeptical because I thought the transfer was really traumatic for me the last time, and I didn't want to have to go through that again. And sitting in Nancy's office, my midwife and Therese's longtime midwife that she's worked with for how many years?
Forever.
Sitting in her office was really intimidating to me. It's, covered in birth photography. And I was 23. I was really modest, and I wasn't yet exposed to all of that stuff. And my husband was like, I know that guy. I worked at the restaurant with that woman. I went to art school with him. I was in a band with him. Like, he knew everybody on the walls. And, told Nancy my whole birth story, my first one, and said, so I'd like to hire you, but I want to have my baby in the hospital. I don't go into labor on my own. I need help with that. So I want to know what you would do. I don't dilate all the way on my own, so I might need the epidural, and I don't want the stink eye if I need it. and I need help with breastfeeding because I had a really hard time breastfeeding last time. And she just kind of looked at me and was like, I think you'd be a really great candidate for a home birth. And I thought, that's crazy. No, I'm going to transfer because my body is broken. I don't work, so that I can't do that again. And we got in the car and Peter was like, I think we should try it. I think we really should. She's amazing. I think this is where her gift lies. I think we should try it. So I agreed to try it, thinking like they would both come around to my way of thinking, which never happened. But so then I had my first home birth at 40 weeks. She was 10 days late, so 41 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And your body went on labor on its own.
It did.
And there was no transfer.
There was no transfer.
And your body knew how to dilate.
Yep.
Oh, so you weren't broken.
I wasn't.
That's good.
I know.
And so that took you to the next birth,
Mm-hmm.
And
But that also then took me, so when I was pregnant, so when I was pregnant with Violet, my third, I took the doula training with you.
Okay.
And it was funny because when I was pregnant with Lila, I guess, yes, I was pregnant with Lila. So I was pregnant with my second. And my two very best friends, Tara Lucier, who you've heard on here before from Northern Virginia, with Begin Within, Birth Services, and soon to be Arrow. She and another woman, Michelle Crittenden, they're my very best friends from when we were 12 years old. They were taking a doula training, and I said, I don't want to take it. I want to take it with this woman, ToRAISE. I'm going to have at my birth. I want to take it with my doula when she does it. And they said, okay, we understand. And they went to this training, and they called me from the training. They're like, this ToRAISE is teaching it. This is it. And I was like, man. So Tara ended up taking it with me again when I was pregnant with Violet. We took it in Charlottesville, and it was just life-changing. It was amazing. I learned so much about, what my own births meant. And I left there really thinking like, this is what I want to do. But then I looked down at my belly and was like, oh, I'm going to have a baby here soon. So then the woman who taught A Brighter Birth, originally, Krista Wild, she called and said she got into nursing school and she really didn't want to see her business evaporate. Mm-hmm. And she gave me the business, just gave me the class.
Isn't that interesting how that happens?
Yeah. And said, you can do whatever you want with the curriculum, but this is the basis of it. And she had already moved away from the Bradley method at that point. But, yeah. And so then I started teaching. And then I had Hero just 18 months later.
Crazy.
And then I think when Hero was just about 2, I had a student in class, and she said, would you think about being my doula? And I right off my tip of my tongue was, no, I don't do that. I have, 4 young kids. I can't really do that. And then I thought, well, wait a second. Why can't I do it now? They're getting older and I can leave, and Hero's not nursing around the clock anymore. And I think I can do this. And so that first birth that I attended was amazing. And she ended up, her baby was breech at 39 weeks. And I helped her with all of her options, what it would look like to have a planned C-section where she was, talked about what her goals were for this birth, what was important to her. And we realized that what was truly the most important thing to her was having her baby skin to skin right away after baby was born, no matter how baby was born. Mm-hmm. And where she was, that wasn't going to be an option if she chose to stay there and have the planned C-section that they were offering. And so I helped guide her to another physician in town who met with her and gave her an exam and felt her hips and tried to turn the baby and said, you can do this. We can have a vaginal breech delivery. And so my very first doula, paying doula birth was a beautiful vaginal breech delivery just 4 days after she met the doctor.
Which is we are so fortunate, because I know obviously who you're speaking of, and we're so fortunate to have him in our community. And we just want to clone him and make him immortal also, because he's one of those rare birds out there who really cares and takes someone on 4 days before a breech, and going to work with a vaginal delivery.
Unfortunately, that's now how he sees me and all of the clients I bring him. So he's
right.
He also calls me Sally for some reason.
Yeah,
and so whenever I come in with a patient, he's like, another one, Sally. What are you doing to me?
I know, it was the beginning of a long relationship.
Yes.
So that was the beginning.
That was it.
You started.
And then I was hooked.
And so did you start taking clients then right away?
Right away. Yeah.
So how many years? So that's 4 years ago?
So that's a little over 4 years ago. And I have attended almost 126 births.
Wow. It's a lot of babies coming in.
Yeah.
And you're still teaching childbirth classes,
I am.
Okay.
I am.
And what did you do with the program that she gave you?
I kept the basis of birth is normal and the midwifery model of care. But, I did a lot of with what To Labor taught me, what you've taught me through the years of, doing life, that's a huge motto for a brighter birth, do life until you can't do it anymore. And really focusing on prodromal labor. Yeah,
such an important part.
And talking about that and going through each stage of labor, and then really focusing on the partner's role and how they can, what their role really is, and then which brings us into hiring a doula. My doula spiel that I give the very first class is kind of going around the room and asking people what they've heard a doula does. And then kind of breaking up the myths of a doula, how she doesn't get in between you and your partner.
Do many think that?
I definitely still have one or two in each class that say, I'm really modest, I'm shy, I don't want a stranger in the room, as though she's just, a lurker.
I know. And there won't be any strangers in the room, right? I mean, the doula would be the only one who really knew her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then talking about how the partner's job is really to love her through it. And then I go around and I say, guys, partners out there, is anyone nervous about this day? Is anyone nervous that you're, and I also kind of go into the whole coach mentality. I'm really not a fan of the partner being a birth coach.
No kidding.
A labor coach.
I hate that. I'm sorry. It's one of those trigger words for me. It's awful. I know people use it and it's not a trigger for them, but it is for me. It's such a throwback also to something that is misunderstood.
Well, and I say, I feel like a coach has to have at least played the game at one point, and they're probably not going to have a vaginal birth anytime soon. So even if they have, I've worked with many, many lesbian couples who they've both had babies. And really those women are like, no, I would like a doula still.
Well, and we also know that there are doulas out there who have never had children themselves. Yeah. That totally get birth and the experience.
But the partner's role is not to be a coach on that day. The partner's role is to love her through it.
Yep.
And, and I give the example of, you're going to go through this class and you're going to learn a lot and you're going to take notes and you're going to have questions and you are going to, at the end of this class, you're going to know what meconium means and you're going to know how dilated her cervix needs to be and what effacement, what does it mean? You're going to know all these things. But then in the thick of it, you're not going to say, okay, babe, your contractions are 3 minutes apart, but you're feeling some back pain. And now, you know what? Let's go ahead and do the pelvic side lying release for 3 contractions on each side. It's just not going to pop into your head.
It's such a good way to bring it up, Melanie.
And then even if you were the one to tell her to do that, she might not want to listen to you.
Probably not. And they can't almost believe it, but they know it is true.
So, and I said, the doula can be the bad guy too. The doula is the one saying, let's do 5 contractions on the toilet. Let's walk through 10 contractions.
Yeah. And when she says, oh, I can't do this. I can't. Oh, no, I can't. You're the one who's helping pull her up and saying, yeah, I know it's so hard. But if the partner's helping, but if you just left it to the partner's not going to be able to probably do that on their own without a flashback into some other kind of relationship.
And that's a lot of pressure to put on a partner's shoulder.
Totally agree.
So we go into that big time in the class, and we have fun in there. We do lots of positions. And
how many weeks are your classes?
Now it's 4, and it's 4 3-hour classes.
Okay, so a total of 12 hours. Did you used to do 6 2-hour classes?
I did.
Okay, but you just found 3. And people, what are your times? I
do a Sunday afternoon, 2 to 5, and then I do a Thursday evening, 6 to 9.
Okay, and 6 o'clock works for people. Mm-hmm. They get home for work, and if they have outside jobs, and they have do they bring their dinner with them sometimes? People?
No, so I'm a food person,
right?
And so the very first class, I bring snack and I set the bar high. And I always say snack is going to be filled with protein. Before anyone comes, I have them fill something out online with, are there any dietary restrictions, allergies, aversions? And whatever anyone has, we're all going to follow that. So, sometimes we have nothing, and then sometimes we have vegan and allergic to strawberries and no black pepper and no, all across the board. And so then I bring in a very healthy, good, hearty snack, and then everyone else fills out the snack sheet, and then they share the snack responsibility. So, and then good. It's a great way for people to interact. And then now they're talking outside of the class with, oh, what are you guys going to bring? I can complement that with this. And then we end up with sharing recipes across the board. And
so you're creating community on top of, so your classes, to clarify, people who come don't necessarily have you as their doula. They have other doulas or no doulas.
Absolutely.
They come from doctors, they come from midwives, they come from home birth, they come from hospital birth.
All over.
And eventually probably birth center birth, since Richmond's going to have a birth center.
Yeah.
So some of those people end up hiring you as their doula?
Yes.
Those who don't have a doula?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay. But you're not pushing that.
No, absolutely not.
How do they approach you, and what do you do about that?
People will come up to me after class, or they will email me in between, and I'll say, we can talk after class and, go over what my services are, and I'll bring you my contract to look at. Or, just when as I'm teaching, I say, I'll interject little stories here and there with different clients. And so they get a good idea of how I practice as a doula. I usually end up having 1 or 2 people in the class that are my clients too.
Okay. And so then doula work.
Yeah.
So you're doing the childbirth education classes, and then you are also very full-time as a doula as well.
Right.
You take a lot of clients on. I know this. Mm-hmm. We recommend usually, or we've seen the national average, because we did a survey about this one time.
Oh, what is it?
1 to 3.
Okay.
And really it's 1 to 3. I could say 2, but it's 1 to 3, because some really honestly do 3 all the time and 1 only.
Okay.
And we recommend that usually you not take more than 5 a month, just because your likelihood of missing some birth gets higher with the amount of births you take on.
Yeah.
So what is I know you fluctuate sometimes and take more than you would.
So that I can take a break the next month. So I typically do 4 a month.
Okay. And how do you set the boundary line for that? What makes you say...
Oh, it's so hard.
I know. That's why it's the question I'm asking.
It's so hard. I'm going to look at my calendar right now to see how many people I had last month too.
Because I know this month in May you have lots, because you're taking on less for the 2 months afterwards.
I had more. I had 1 more in May, but my June is crazy. But then my July and August are nice and neat.
That's what it was. June was a lot bigger.
Right.
So how do you, because you could say 4 and then somebody calls you or one of your students says, and what do you, I guess the 3 questions or 2 questions are, do you always say no? Do you sometimes say yes? Do you always say yes?
Okay. So do I always say no? No.
Okay.
Do I sometimes say yes? Yes.
Do you always say yes?
No.
Okay. So what makes you decide that?
So, a repeat client
Okay.
would be usually a yes.
Right. I can understand that.
And, I've had repeat clients who have called me like when they peed on the stick.
Right. I was going to say, you almost want to say to them, so next baby, can you, if you really want me, but you don't want to say that because you don't want to be assuming they're going to hire you.
I say that.
You say it. Well, good. Your confidence is there.
Well, yeah, I've spent 22 hours with this family now. We're all friends. Next time, because I know it's going to be a lot shorter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call me. So repeat clients are usually a yes. And then just people dear to me, people that are in my life already would usually be a yes. But honestly, if it's, I did have a student who was just really pulled at my heartstrings recently, and I was booked and I ended up taking them on, but I took them on with the caveat of I have an apprentice and I would like to, or would you be okay with meeting with the apprentice? And then if I am at another birth, you still get her. If I'm not, ideally it will be both of us. But if you get her, she will be on the phone with me continuously and I'll be guiding her on what to do. And so they love that idea. And so they met with her for one prenatal visit and they met with both of us for the next. And then ideally, and we got what we wanted. So we both got to go.
Oh, that's good. That was the birth recently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's how I've kind of made it work. But then if I do have a busier month, like everyone in June knows that I'm busy in June. And so everyone knows that there is a possibility that they might end up with one of my backups.
Okay. And how do you work that backup situation?
So it's kind of a brand new thing that I've just done. I just kind of...
Before you... Can I pause for it? Because we really want to hear that. But can you tell us what you used to do?
So I used to have 1 or 2 backups and then kind of sit down with them once a month, or I would really hand pick my clients which backup I was going to use for them.
And did you have a backup for everyone all the time, no matter what?
No. I mean, I would not different backups, but I would have a good solid 2, sometimes 3 if it was a really busy month. That were backing me up, but I wouldn't have this person for this person and another person for another person.
But you definitely had a backup for all your clients.
Absolutely.
And your clients knew that. You communicated that.
That's in my contract.
Okay. It's in your contract.
It's in my contract and then I give them a form, when to call Melanie, and it's got, all these different things of why they would want to call me, what time they're allowed to call me, what time they're not allowed to call me.
Isn't that something I've brought up many times, listeners?
It was very, very good, very helpful. And then their info is on there too. And so I tell them, you will know, first of all, who is on call for you if someone else is on call. I tell my clients if I'm going to a birth and it's during the day, I will reach out to them and tell them I'm at a birth today. I'll let you know when the baby is born.
And that's why once they're on,
I'm on call for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in the middle of the night, but if, there's some sort of mind trickery that can sometimes can help, if they know that you're not available. So I'll say, don't eat any spicy foods, no sex today, keep your legs together.
They're like, damn, you just called and we're having it.
I know. So I used to have 1 or 2 and we would just kind of go back and forth that way.
Okay.
And then there are times where I would go out of town and have someone whose due date overlapped or my on-call period overlapped when I would be out of town. And in that case, they would physically meet my backup with one of our appointments.
Because your client knew that was you were transparent
in the interview. Yeah.
That you might be out of town during the time that they could go into labor. I have a backup.
Right.
Okay, good. So really important, that transparency right from the beginning. And then backup for the unexpected events.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So how many times would you say that you,
have used a backup?
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's
under
hard.
10. Under 10 times.
Okay. And
there's only been, once I had the flu. And I think that was the first time I ever had to use a backup. And I was like on day 3 with the flu, and I'm like, well, maybe I can.
I know,
like,
isn't that the worst? I know, because you cannot go, but you're so like, but I can.
Right. So that was unfortunate, but I had an amazing backup for that one. And then really the others have been when I've been out of town and they've known that was a possibility. Right. And then I had one where I took a day trip, and she ended up going really fast and just had a baby in less than 2 hours. And so had to call in a backup.
So primarily it's been pre-planned stuff, not unexpected.
But this one, her on-call time actually did overlap with when I was out of town. So she had known who her backup was going to be, and she felt very safe.
That's good.
So,
good. So, and now you've done something different.
Right.
Right. So what's going on?
Well, so now I have formed a collective, a Brighter Birth doula collective, and brought on 3 other doulas, 2 experienced doulas and 1 brand new who's apprenticing underneath me right now. And so it's basically just a very solid backup situation.
Okay.
Wherein that we're all backing each other. And we know what clients we have going on at the same time, and we know who's on for who. And then they are also the top doulas that I recommend to people when they call me and I'm booked.
Okay.
So, and then, same goes for them, for the rest of the collective. And then I'm also training and certifying them in a Brighter Birth CBE.
Right.
So that they can teach, which I have been really, really busy these last few years, just doing all of this on my own and having 4 kids and trying to answer emails and
doing birth,
lactation counseling
right.
here and there. And so I just figured it's time to give up a little bit of control. But I am just so grateful to these women. They've already been such a resource of strength and wisdom for me, just going through with, just ask like business stuff and then, heart stuff, just day to day. I love getting to know them more and more, and I'm so excited to have them a part of my business.
Well, to me, it sounds like an ideal situation. It's going back again to the, what I talked about a couple weeks ago about the sisterhood.
Right.
That it's a collective of doulas that you're in competition with each other, but you're not in competition with each other. I mean, you're supporting one another, but you're separate entities, but you are totally supportive of one another, yet she could get the client that you don't get, but that's okay because that client needed to go with her and you're not. Yeah, it all comes out. And I would assume for the client, it's a really excellent situation because they know then who specifically they would have.
Right.
And feel connected to knowing that, not connected, feeling secure.
Exactly.
In the fact that you might be absent. And the more you get to know those people, I assume you picked people that you felt were similar in some way to you.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And that's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I had many a meeting with them separately and then ultimately together. And, I listened a lot in the beginning. I gave, little bits of ideas that I had for this business, and then listened and even tweaked some things that I thought I wanted because of things that they wanted. And so really tried to make this, about us as, a business team rather than, hiring on people underneath me. I don't want to feel like I have employees. I want to feel like I have a team. And a team that I can trust and be inspired from as
right. Well, it sounds really good.
Yeah. And we've got new things. One of them is going to be creating some new classes to offer. And, one of them is also a prenatal yoga teacher. And, I'm really excited about this apprentice kind of coming into her own. I'm so proud of her, how she did the birth the other night. She was awesome. I am so excited about having someone to teach for me too.
And I imagine just knowing that, okay, I've got my bases covered, not just, I know that for doulas, the backup situation is a big one. Yeah. Figuring out who is it and will they be available.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They are so, it's so nice to just be able to call and say, okay, this is what's happening. Are you on for this? Like, yeah, I got it. Yeah. Just hearing, yeah, I got it. No worries. Like, yeah, everything's going to be okay. Don't worry. Like, that's the kind of support and feedback I need in my life, because I tend to say yes to a lot of things.
Yeah. Really?
And that was kind of my leading question for all of them. Like, what are you going to do when I've told you that I have, 5 births this month and I have all these classes and I've got to do this and that and that? They're like, no, you can do it. Yeah. What do you need from me? What kind of support do you need from me? So.
And then they're taking on how many clients a month?
A little bit less right now.
Because you have to be their backup too.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah,
it works both ways.
It does. And then we're, also giving a little bit of a discount to all of our clients for the classes.
That's good.
And so that, just having your clients go through your own classes, you get to know them so well.
Right.
And then you also know that they are really well prepared.
Well, that's
to
true.
Go in.
That's really true.
To this.
But not everybody is a childbirth educator, so it's really important.
But to find one that you believe in.
Yeah, that really emulates what you are trying to say to your clients. And vice versa, it's the childbirth educators who are listening need to find the doulas who are really emulating what you're trying to teach as well.
Exactly.
Well, we have more to talk about, but we'll have to do a part 2. So this is just the beginning, because I want you to tell us a couple of your birth stories in the future, okay? A couple of those case study ones that we can really go through. But now you guys heard a little bit about Melanie Headley.
It's me.
And thanks, Melanie. It was great.
Thanks. And you guys can check out my website, abrighterbirth.com.
It's beautiful.
I don't yet have the whole collective info up there. We're still kind of tweaking some things.
And Facebook as well.
And Facebook, A Brighter Birth. And follow us on Instagram, because we post a lot of fun birth pics on there.
And Instagram as well. So thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll be right back.
So we're sitting here.
Wait a minute. I want to say thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for doing that. And that we'll talk more.
Thanks. That wasn't so bad.
No. Yeah. I'm glad I gave you that moment to catch your breath. Okay. So go ahead.
Okay. So we're sitting here deciding which tip to give you guys today. And we thought, wait a second. We're always giving you guys the tips. We want to hear your tips.
That's right.
Give us some little tips to put out there. What helps you? What do you bring to a birth? What have you found really helps a mama or a partner during labor,
or prenatally, or postpartum? Anything that you think that you found a position, a tool, a suggestion, an idea that helps support somebody through that whole pregnancy experience. We would love to hear it, and so send it to
ToRAISEQuestions@gmail.com.
And everyone have a really great week, and thanks for all your support.
Thanks for listening.